could be a factor in the fight because of his pressure style. But Shane Mosley has never lost to a shorter fighter, and the height advantage listed as 1 inch here appears to be perhaps greater when they stand side by side. Arm length advantage of 1.5 inches for the unusually long arm. Shane Mosley measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, and they both weighed in 3/4 pound under the 147-pound limit, usually suggestive that both fighters have worked extra hard to get in shape for the fight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Miguel Cotto Shane Mosley fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight in case it is caused by an accidental headbutt. We go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Sugar Shane Mosley was one of the best American amateur fighters of the late 80s and early 90s. He was expected to go to the Barcelona Olympics in 1992, but lost an upset in the United States boxing trials to Vernon Forrest, an odd harbinger of what was to come years later when he got his first professional loss against Forrest here in New York in the theater at Madison Square Garden. Forrest was taller. Mosley lost to him twice. Winky Wright was taller. Mosley lost to him twice. Everyone else in his career he has beaten, and the confidence he's shown within the past 2 weeks powerfully suggests that he thinks he's going to beat Miguel Cotto too.
Well, I think one of the things that he believes, and I definitely believe, is that most of his losses were to guys who were just physically too big for him. Even though Vernon was a welterweight, but he was just a big welterweight, and Winky Wright, who beat him twice, was just physically too big for him also. And I think now that he's back to his proper weight where he should be and should have been all the time, he's fighting better than ever.
Interestingly, Max, Floyd Mayweather has routinely been dismissive of Shane Mosley, has said on several occasions in front of our cameras that there's no reason for him to considering fighting Mosley, that Mosley is in effect done compared to him. But when asked who he thought would win this fight, Mayweather was forswear in saying Shane Mosley's going to win. He'll win by an early knockout.
Well, there's an expression, Jim, real recognize real, and I think that's what that's all about. This is the semifinals here in the welterweight division. Winner of this fight should fight the winner of next month's Mayweather-Hatton real welterweight title showdown.
Now, if Mayweather wins and Mayweather refuses to fight the winner of this fight, are you still going to keep considering him as the welterweight champion?
Till I see him lose, till he retires,
no,
if
he refuses to fight the winner of this fight.
Indeed,
if he beats Ricky Hatton and he won't fight the winner of this fight, you're still going to keep him as the linear, you call it, champion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And now, while Mosley waits in the ring as the challenger, here comes Cotto to defend his title belt in this division. You see the record in title fights. And once again, let me mention that Miguel Cotto has the unusual capacity to knock his opponent out late in fights. 10 times among his 25 knockouts, he has knocked an opponent out in the 7th round or later. Very unusual, Emmanuel, and surely the product of his relentless body-punching style.
That's usually paid dividends for him in the latter part of the fight, but he does have the power to knock someone out earlier. But I just think that Mosley's got a great chin. I've only saw him down once, and that was the first fight with Vernon Forrest, and that's considered an amateur, long amateur career and professional career.
The indication from the walk-in, it is a crowd that will favor Miguel Cotto, perhaps not as heavily as was the case earlier this year against Judah. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Big Time Boxing. This is Madison Square Garden, New York City, USA, where tonight, Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Welterweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Tourism Puerto Rico, Rums of Puerto Rico, Paramount Pictures' new film, Beowulf, in theaters November 16th, and Southwest Airlines, the symbol of freedom. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman Ron Scott Stevens, Commissioner in Attendance Melvina Latham, and the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this contest on the 10-point system will be from Connecticut, Glenn Feldman, from New York, Wynn Kintz, and from Florida, Peter Trematera. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Benji Estevez. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with silver, official weight 146 1/4 pounds. An outstanding professional record consisting of 44 victories, including 37 knockouts, 4 defeats. From Pomona, California, the former lightweight world champion, former 2-time welterweight world champion, and former super welterweight champion of the world, Sugar Shane Mosley. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing white with gold, official weight 146 1/4 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 30 bouts, 30 victories, including 25 knockouts. He's the former junior welterweight world champion. He's the undefeated reigning defending WBA welterweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Caguas, Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto.
Okay, Miguel, Shane, voy a repetir mis instrucciones. I will repeat my instructions. Una pelea limpia. Give me a nice clean match. Obedece mis instrucciones durante la pelea. Obey my commands. Protégtate durante el combate todo el tiempo. Protect yourself at all times. Good luck to you.
Miguel Cotto has made a career of breaking his opponent's wills. Sugar Shane Mosley has never had his will broken. Something's gotta give.
Estevez awaited the opening bell in the center of the ring. Cotto continued to bounce and warm up in his corner with his back turned to Shane Mosley. Mosley begins with 2 vicious right-hand shots to Cotto's body, as if to say, I know your medicine, I can give it to you myself. This crowd is pumped up.
Cotto is right down trying to place his punches, taking his time. But normally he's traditionally not really slow punch starter, but sometimes semi-slow, I would put it that way. But for this fight, he's trying to adjust to the speed of Shane right now. Figure out timing.
landing his jab. He does a little better with the jab than probably a lot of people will recognize because so much attention is focused on his brilliant body punching. But Mosley, with the longer arms and the quicker hands, is expected to have an advantage in that category tonight. And now Shane begins to fire combinations. Mosley's first two punches, those right hands to the body, seem to me to be purposeful expressions, as if to say, I can punch to the body too.
The punch that I expect to be the most successful for Cotto, if any, would probably be what he just landed, the right hand to the head. Because I noticed when Vargas fought Shane was very vulnerable for right hands to the head. He didn't really roll it or either shield it. But right now, Cotto just looks so much stronger. Even though Shane is the one that's coming down from a different weight division, Cotto is coming up from a different division, but Cotto looks physically much stronger.
Absolutely right. When Cotto lands his left hook, as he just did there, it moves Shane Mosley. And he got in the left hook to the body. That's one.
And his speed may not be exactly as much as Shane, but it's very fast, and he has a lot of power in him.
What's encouraging if you're Cotto is that the fight's been in the middle of the ring, which would seem to favor Mosley, but Cotto's landed some good shots.
I think what's bothering Mosley more than Shane is the speed of Cotto. Cotto's speed is a lot faster, I think, than Shane expected.
Cotto getting off a solid combination there. Mosley has had the two opening body shots and a flurry, but most of the damage has been done so far by Cotto. Now Mosley lands a right hand behind a jab, and they go to the ropes for the first time. Cotto, as always, looks very calm as he fires a right hand up and under, then goes back to the jab. Mosley with his mouth open, seeming all ready to look to catch his breath as he lands a chopping right hand and a left hook to the body to punctuate the round.
All you gotta do is relax, you know what you can do. Give me a little grease on your eyebrows. Listen, your jab, you got a powerful jab. All you gotta do, relax, focus, use that jab. Now you know he's gonna keep throwing punches till you hit him with something good to make him stop. And like Ed used to say, a guy gonna keep doing what he's doing unless you do something to make him stop doing what he's doing.
All right, to the body and relax, relax. We're gonna build upon it. Relax, little by little, we'll beat him. Where's the towel?
CompuBox numbers in round one. Cotto got the better of it. 17 out of 50 compared to 11 of 44 for Mosley. Even more to the point, jabs. Mosley threw 31, was credited with landing only 3. Cotto landed 11 of 33. So if it was going to be a jabbing contest, the initial returns, surprisingly, go to Miguel Cotto.
Well, actually, Shane don't really jab. He just is a little nimble and he just flickers out. And that's what I was saying. He's not really a boxer that much. He just flickers with the left hand and then he explodes with explosion, but he really doesn't have an authoritative jab the way a lot of the boxers in the past had. That was like Ray Leonard and even Thomas Hearns and Hackman and those guys.
I thought Jack Mosley was right on point between rounds, asking his son, relax, focus. Mosley looked a little tense in the first round.
Well, now, Cotto has landed effective, but he has a authoritative jab, not just a weak wrist flicker.
Timing will destroy speed, and Cotto right now seems to have the superior timing.
Hard right hand across the top by Cotto. Mosley misses short with his right as Miguel backs away.
One thing you can be sure of, if Shane feels that he's falling behind and he's losing the fight, he would start fighting. If it means that he can't outbox Cotto from a comfort distance, he will actually start exchanging with him if he has to.
Step out clean, step out clean.
To me, like Shane's right eye is already showing the effects of Cotto's left jab.
And once again, Cotto's left hook moves Mosley a half a step.
For speed with power, Cotto is surprisingly faster than Shane. Shane punches, but it's really more of a weak wrist punch. It doesn't have the power, but Cotto's speed, I think, is bothering Shane. He doesn't do a lot of fancy moving around, but when he does punch, he moves at one speed real smooth, and then he punches at a different speed, and that's what's bothered Shane.
I think there's a tremendous tendency on the part of Miguel Cotto's opponents to underestimate his speed. They look at his body, they look at those heavy bones, they think about his power punching. They don't expect that he can match them in that category.
No, because he moves very smooth, very graceful, nothing real fancy about his footwork, but his punches at a different speed.
Good left hook inside by Shane Mosley. Partially blocked, though, by Miguel Cotto.
Pressure fighters traditionally has started slow. Joe Frazier comes to mind, wouldn't start smoking until a little later in the fight. That's scary when you see the success Cotto's already had early, and we haven't even really seen him start to chase Mosley around.
I believe this fight is just starting to get heated up. It's going to be a good fight, but Shane's going to start fighting. He's not going to let Cotto beat him that easy. Now he's landing that club and right hand that he said he was going to land. And as soon as one guy starts shredding, the other one comes right back.
Absolutely. When Shane landed his right hand, you can see that Cotto felt like he had to fight back immediately.
As I said, Cotto is a bigger puncher, but Shane takes a good shot at him. If anybody gets knocked out early, I figure it's going to be Cotto.
Shane Mosley has found something with his chopping right hand. He's landed 3 solid right crosses in the last minute of the round.
Again, breathe. You saw his right, you see what he has?
Yes.
All right. He's throwing that hook, but soft.
Set it up with the jabs again. Those body shots hurt him. That head shot hurt him. You hit hard, Shane. Just relax, though. Don't be all tight. Relax. Have fun. This is your playground. This is your playground.
Here you see Mosley land a little club and right hand right over the shoulder, which he said that he would land with Cotto, and also he said he would be landing body punches with his left hand, but he did exactly what he said he would do, and I think it definitely got the attention of Cotto. And you're going to see the fight probably continue to go back and forth from this point on.
It appeared that Shane Mosley finally found relaxation in the second half of round 2, and then by CompuBox count, he landed 10 power shots in the last minute of the round. So a sudden and palpable shift in the momentum of the fight early, and now they're fighting on more even terms. Heavy body shot there by Miguel Cotto. Mosley momentarily ties him up. Benji Estevez steps in. Body shot by Mosley with the right hand. Big left jab upstairs by Cotto. And a jab by Mosley.
As in the Zab Judah fight, the most effective punch thus far has been Cotto's left jab.
You know, that goes unnoticed by most people because everybody looks for Cotto's left hook, but his jab is very effective. And this is probably the most that I've saw Shane get hit maybe ever with power punches, even in this short distance where he's been hit with a lot of sword punches to the head. Even though he got hit a lot by Winky, there wasn't that much power punches. But he's got hit a lot with a lot of hard driving jabs.
Big right hand by Mosley. Cotto momentarily stunned, now comes back up with his jab. Hard body shot by Shane Mosley. There's that left hook again by Cotto. Mosley took it better that time. Shane Mosley selling out on a left hook.
Yeah, this right. These guys are throwing some serious punches in there. Everything is written with KO on it, and these are clean, accurate punches.
Very much like what we saw in Wales last week between Joe Calzaghe and Mikko Kessler.
Yeah, but you know that Calzaghe really wasn't a big puncher, but in case sure, I think, you know, even though Shane is not considered for the most part a big puncher, tonight I think he's going to be a good puncher because he knows the right punches to land on Cotto that will hurt him.
He's also throwing those punches against a guy with a less than granite chin.
Tremendous left hook by Cotto. Tremendous right hand by Shane Mosley. They are trading shot for shot now as the action heats up. Right hand lands for Cotto. And another left hook, and Mosley backs off. It's a war of wills in round 3. Both guys landing their shots.
I'd say that round's even. Okay, you have to get on your toes a little bit, and you got to use your body. Use your body so your arms don't, you can relax yourself when you're using your body. Incidentally, those are damn good body shots, damn good head shots. And that move you made when you came back, came to that left, you're thinking. He's open for that.
Jab, 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 jab. You got to do it 3 times. Stick it, solid. All he had is the overhand, that's it. He throws it when he knows that you're not going to do anything.
CompuBox numbers in round 3, pretty even. Cotto 21 out of 70, Mosley 27 out of 73, including 15 out of 24 power shots. Early on, it was Cotto. Mosley has come back. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Hutchinson, 2 rounds to 1, 29, 28. Sugar Shane Mosley. Jim, I gotta tell you, in round 1, I thought Miguel Cotto was really, very effective. In round 2, Shane Mosley got into a rhythm, started to land that sledgehammer right hand, and I think he's just doing more damage with the right hand than Miguel Cotto is doing with the left hook. The whole fight fought in the middle of the ring. Very few clinches. It's been a sensational fight so far. Shane Mosley, 2-1 on clean punching.
Got to marvel at Shane Mosley, who, at the end of the last decade, had one of the all-time great high-speed chest boxing puncher matchups with De La Hoya. And here is going toe-to-toe with the young, hungry
Now
Tiger.
you can see right here, as I said, Cotto has gotten adjusted to the fact that Shane is really landing a lot of overhand rights, so he's watching out for the rights, and now it's time for Shane to start shooting left uppercuts between the centers. And I think that's what he's going to do, because he's going to find out the right hand is going to be ineffective for a while until he changes up and does something else.
These are vicious exchanges. Some of the most vicious exchanges we've seen in years.
Anyone other than Shane, I think, would have went down for that left hook. Very few fighters would have took that shot.
If you're sitting in the 20th row, you could hear these body shots land.
Miguel looks still very strong. Between the two, even though Shane is doing good, Miguel looks much stronger.
Right hand lands flush. Mosley comes back with 2 of his own. Third right hand from Mosley. Left hook to the body by Cotto. Sledgehammer shots.
Like
they're
Mosley,
matching against each other.
It's like Mosley feels if he just throws that right hand a little harder.
Well, it's interesting that the punch that I think would do the most to Mosley would be a right hand, but for whatever reason, Cotto isn't throwing too many right hands to Mosley's chin.
Cotto's having a good round here. Mosley's not doing badly, but Cotto is cranking up his connect percentage in this round and getting more leather onto Mosley than was the case in the second and the third.
Yep, you see what makes Mosley a great fighter. The same thing that guys like Eric Morales and Oscar De La Hoya have. When he's tagged, he comes right back.
Perfect case in point right there as Cotto barged his right hand and his jab into Mosley's mouth, and Shane came back with a big right hand. Big left hook for Shane, or for Miguel Cotto again.
Very nice. Breathe deeply now. Now watch the headbutts. Watch the headbutts. Bringing his head down.
Use your body. Twist. You're hitting him real good, but you gotta hit him. When you twist over here, You got to twist and come up with the uppercuts. And your hooks, you got double hooks, head, body, head.
Here you see both guys landing some beautiful punches. First you see Shane land a tremendous uppercut through the center, I think, because Cotto was looking for a right hand over top. And you see right back here, Shane comes right back. I mean, Cotto lands a perfect left hook on the chin. That was a tremendous shot.
Which would have put a lot of welterweights down. Power shots in round 4. Cotto 21 out of 48. Mosley 20 out of 35. What a fight.
Step out clean, let's go. All right, breathe. Breathe. No punching.
Emmanuel looking at the space in the ring. And just the way they are giving and taking and moving against each other. I wonder if slowly, imperceptibly, Cotto is beginning to make his thudding point.
I believe he's beginning to have an impact. I was just about to say the same thing. I'm just looking at I look at the facial expression and try to study what's going on in their mind. Cotto seems to be a little bit more comfortable with the situation where it is than Shane does.
Meanwhile, it's Cotto's back just on the ropes, and Cotto who just took the right hand to the body.
Yeah, well, Shane Mosley's a great fighter. He's not going to give up at all. And I mean, and the fight is a very close fight. It can still go either way.
Now Cotto's starting to bully Shane along the ropes. This is typically when pressure fighters start to really cook.
And then once again, every time one guy takes a lead, the other guy storms right back.
2 big left hands by Cotto were followed by a sizzling right hand from Shane Mosley. Watch out for the left hook. Watch out for the right hand. The wrestling taxes you physically.
And all of this is pretty much being initiated by Shane right now.
Hard right hand by Mosley.
And he's landing those right hands too. And if he started coming up through the center to mix it up, I think he'd be a lot bit more effective.
Hard right hand by Cotto.
And here comes Shane coming
Thudded
right back.
onto the chin of Shane Mosley.
And this got to be the scourge of the Cotto, because these are the punches that he normally knocks out guys with. He either has much better results, but has never seriously even staggered Shane in this fight, even though he's landed some great shots.
5 rounds, there hasn't been even a momentary drop in the intensity of this vicious battle.
Wow.
Shane Mosley's wife and manager, Jim Mosley, a New Yorker by background, knows that she's on camera and puts on the obligatory ceremonial
Use your
smile.
body, twist, okay? When you throw your punches, twist it, let you, swing the punches. They'll be a lot more harder. Okay, here. You swing uppercuts, swing uppercuts. All right? How you feel? Feel good? Okay. Listen, get on your toes, use that jab we worked on. How come you're not using it? But just, well, use it. It'll work. It'll score some points. Okay? It'll score some points.
Shane Mosley's face between rounds showing the exertion of this kind of vicious hand-to-hand combat. Through 5, CompuBox averages. Cotto 22 out of 60, Mosley 22 out of 67. So the average landing the same number of punches per round, Cotto with just a slightly higher connect percentage. If both men stand up, very hard fight to score.
Jack Mosley asked Shane in the corner, how you feeling? Good? He was looking for good. And Shane said, all right, not exactly good.
This is the roughest fight that I think I've ever saw Shane. Even though he was clearly beaten by Winky. Winky was just not a big puncher, but he's getting hit with some power punches. And the same goes for Cotto. I've never saw anyone hitting him like this.
Absolutely. Both guys are going against quality opponents who want to make every punch count, and so many of these punches have truly counted so far that it's breathtaking. Frankly, you sit here and wonder how men can do this.
Very few can.
It's funny. Most effective blow of Cotto, and he doesn't use it much, is his draft jab. Good right hand. That's the right hand that I said that was the best punch that he has for most is the right hand. Shane does not have a good defense for his right hands.
And Shane is necessarily conscious of Cotto's constant drum beat with the left hand. So the right hand becomes a stealth weapon for Cotto, and he's beginning to use it to greater and greater effect. He hurt Judah with right hands.
But Shane particularly, I watched in the Fernando Vargas fight, I said that was Fernando Vargas' favorite best punch. He just didn't throw it enough, much like Cotto. But Shane does not seem to have a defense for right hands. And the jab is coming in pretty good with regularity. Cotto just doesn't throw the jab enough. Even though Shane looks like a boxer, moves, has a rhythm, he really isn't a boxer because he doesn't have the authoritative jab that Cotto has.
He's a fighter.
Yeah, he's a fighter. Shane is definitely a fighter.
Tonight. He's an all-out fighter. Butting left hook for Miguel Cotto. There's just a trace of weariness in the features of Shane Mosley.
Yep. Cotto is a lot more comfortable with the situation.
Tremendous flurry by Mosley.
But see, a one-sided jab from Cotto has more effect and does more damage than all of the blows that Shane is doing, because Shane's punches are loose with his hands and not tightly closed.
What I saw, Cotto left hook stray a little low there.
That was a big subject before the fight, as specifically Jack Mosley, Shane's trainer, talked at some length to media about what he sees as Cotto's tendency to use low blows when in trouble. Hasn't happened here. We're halfway through and it's been amazing. Miguel Cotto's sons waiting at ringside. Miguel has been a parent ever since his middle teens, and I think that figures into his massive maturity for such a young fighter.
Come on, all you have to do is throw first, and straight punches, not looping punches. How you feeling? How's your hair? Good?
Here you see Miguel Cotto land short right hand right on the chin of Shane. Perfect punch. Counter punch that normally knocks out opponents.
Let's go. Seconds out, let's go.
CompuBox numbers in round 6. Cotto 26 out of 62, 42%. Mosley 22 out of 66. They were just about even in power shots. Harold Letterman, how do you have it halfway through?
I'll get you 4 rounds to 2. 58, 56. Miguel Cotto. Jim, for 5.5 rounds, Sugar Shane Mosley stood right in front of Miguel Cotto and banged with him, shot for shot. Halfway through the 6th round, he went to plan B. He started a box, he started a move, he started a jab. That's the style he's got now. It's not the same style he fought for 5.5 rounds. Let's see if Cotto can, outbang him in that style that Mosley's using now. Anyway, 4 rounds to 2. Miguel Cotto, I think he's won the last 3 rounds in a row.
Cotto momentarily switches southpaw, something he did quite liberally against Judah. Automatically or immediately went back to his conventional stance. He's not fighting a southpaw tonight. He may not need ever to switch southpaw. He's lined up to land his left hook to the body the way he wants to.
Cotto switched briefly earlier in the fight. I think it was around the 2nd round.
Mosley bouncing on his feet, staying on his toes, just as Harold Letterman referred to him doing in the latter part of round 6. Trying to present more movement to Miguel Cotto and maybe stop some of those thudding power shots. There have been some big right hands from Mosley in this round. Now Cotto lands a right hand in return. Now he switches southpaw, does Cotto.
The one thing that Shane has did very good, he's neutralized what everybody else considers to be Cotto's best punch, his left hook to the body. But he has been very effective in taking that away from him. And he's landing the right hands that he wanted, just that he's not a real big puncher.
When he's on his toes, he seems to be able, Mosley, that is, to land that right hand.
He gets his rhythm very good when he's on his toes. But I don't know how long he would do that, because by nature, he's still a fighter. Even though he moves like a boxer, he still likes to fight. And the real nature of him will probably come right back out again as soon as he gets hit.
Especially with his force of nature on him.
And how much more energy does he expend, Emmanuel, trying to stay on his toes and bounce and keep moving like that, rather than standing flat foot and trading with Miguel as he did earlier in the fight?
If he even box, but he doesn't really effectively jab a lot. He just moves and keeps Cotto's rhythm off and then drops a right hand. But I don't know how long he can continue to do that, though. He may do it for maybe 1 round or two.
The movement was enough to keep Cotto from landing his left hook flush a moment ago. He caught Mosley on the back of the ear with it. Now they wrestle some more, and clearly Cotto has the advantage when they wrestle, although here, a very strong Shane Mosley pushes him back.
Let's go. Clean, clean. Limpio, okay?
That was their least artistic round.
Which may have went to Shane possibly, too.
That was better. You working the jab more, I'm just doing some more of that. But give me some of them hooks, okay? Just spit it. Give me some more of those hooks, right? Some more of those hooks. You're doing a good job. But you got it. This is the 7th round, I believe. So you're gonna have to pick up on the jabs a lot more. Those jabs are gonna have to score a lot more points now going into these last rounds. You have to start scoring a lot of points.
No te tires. Ve con el jab.
Work the jab.
8 rounds.
Go on. 8, 8, 8.
Okay?
Here you see Shane landing right-handed. He's landed probably about 25 of those. It's been his key punch tonight. That doesn't do anything for your eardrum either. But what's beautiful about those right hand, he starts them when Cotto still has his hands up, anticipating that by the time the punch gets there, Cotto will have moved his hand, and he's been very accurate on that.
CompuBox numbers in the 7th round. Miguel Cotto landed 14 out of 50. Those were his lowest numbers since the first round. Mosley 17 out of 52, including 11 of 24 power shots. We go to round 8.
Mosley's effective boxing in the last round, I think, dulled this fight slightly. Some of the drama went out of the fight in the last round, and I think that was a result of Mosley's effective movement.
I'm beginning to think the less drama there is, the better Shane has a chance to win.
That's true. Shane wants to keep it going. When it's too exciting, it's not good for him.
Mosley landed a right hand to the body and another big right upstairs. Both punches crashing into Mosley.
Yeah, Shane is doing very well. He's really keeping Cotto from getting his rhythm going right now.
Cotto's starting to solve it, though.
It's beautiful. It's in and out, darting in and out, punching, changing directions.
And then as we say he dulled the fight a little, between them, they must have landed 15 clean punches.
Cotto's back in the southpaw stance.
Nice and clean.
Gives Mosley something different to think about. Lands the left hand, switches back to the conventional. Crashing right hand for Miguel Cotto. Cotto seems to have dialed it back in just a little bit in this round. Right hand over the top again for Mosley. But Cotto, who brought in Randall Bailey, a thudding right-hand puncher as a sparring partner to prepare him for this, is walking through the right hands.
Yeah, but he isn't getting away from it. He's just walking through them. As we said, he's still getting hit with them, and that doesn't do anybody good. He's getting hit with a lot of right hands.
Cotto is fighting well, but I don't see where he's systematically breaking Mosley down as he's broken down every other opponent he's ever fought.
No, that's what makes Shane Mosley so special. That's why everybody out here is having a problem of trying to decide who they figure is going to win this fight.
him out, let him out, let him out, let him out, let him out.
Another thudding combination from Cotto as we count down the seconds in round number 8. 2/3 of the way through the fight.
That'll be a really interesting round to see how the judges scored that round. Cotto landed blows, but just the jigging and the movement and everything creates excitement. It makes it look like Shane is outboxing.
You have to throw more hooks to the body, all right? And you have to hit him hard enough with those jabs and hook him. Swing, those hooks we worked on, swing them, but keep your right hand up. Double up on your hooks, double up on your jab. We're going into, I think, the 8th or 9th round. You got to pick it up, Shane.
Use your jab. When you use your jab, he doesn't do anything. With the jab, you set it up. It's ours. It's ours. It's the jab. Use the jab. Use the jab, and don't be careless.
Across the ring, Mosley's Golden Boy Promotions partner, Bernard Hopkins, is on his feet, constantly trying to shout and signal with instructions to Shane. I wonder if it might be more of a distraction than a help, as Jack Mosley is trying to communicate with his son at the same time. Through 8 rounds, Cotto averaging 9 out of 25 jabs per round and clearly landing his jab more consistently at a higher rate than Shane Mosley. Between rounds, Emmanuel Stewart, Jack Mosley, as has been the case sometimes in Shane's fights in the past, said to Shane indefinitely, I think it's about round 8 or 9. Is it important to the fighter whether his trainer knows what round they're in?
Yeah, that's why you see me always ask him, looking around for the ring card girls to find out. Because a lot of times that go with pace, and especially this fight, look like it's a good chance it's going to go the distance. And it's a close fight, regardless of who's winning. Just knowing what the score is, and if you can pull these last 2 or 3 rounds out, and make the difference between winning the championship of the world or losing it.
Meanwhile, Cotto spent the last 60 seconds circling Mosley, kind of backing up. I don't remember seeing Cotto do that before.
They're trading body shots, and Cotto got in a big left hook to punctuate that exchange. There might be a little bit of swelling around the left eye of Miguel Cotto, and after all the right hands Mosley has landed, it wouldn't be any surprise.
Mosley's becoming very aggressive now, and Cotto just stands there and takes those right. He doesn't roll and counter back with a right hand of his own anything. He's just getting hit with those right hands by Shane.
And now Shane Mosley lands a big left hook. His best left hook of the fight.
Shane must seem to sense that something is wrong and that Cotto's beginning to give. You can just see the facial expression, and he's stepping it up, and Cotto is trying to get away from the situation now.
It almost looks like there's something wrong with Cotto, like he was hurt with something a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, maybe.
And you can see that Shane has become aggressive. The animal is coming out in Shane now. Where the rest of the part of the fight, he's been boxing. Now he's taking a whole different attitude.
Benji Esteves asking both fighters not to hold and grapple. Shane Mosley leans in on Cotto against the ropes.
Cotto looks like something's wrong. Looks like he's hurt. And I'm looking, Shane is trying to find a way to drop the right hand right over top. There it is. That's it.
Huge right hand.
That's it.
Huge right hand shot.
That's it.
Cotto standing still, and Miguel Cotto in these situations always fights back. He doesn't know any other way to deal with crisis. Lands a left hook. Mosley wants to get at him. Shane Mosley stalking. Miguel Cotto moving side to side and pushes Mosley back to end the round. Crowd on its feet.
Wait, Shane, his ass is hurt. Don't wait on him. You understand? Do not wait. Can you hear me? Don't wait on him. When you get close enough to him, hit his ass. You don't have no more time to waste. None. You have to hit his ass. All right? You have to hit him when you get to the body, to the head. He's hurt.
This is a fight. This is an amateur fight. 3 rounds. 3 rounds. This is it. Put the left and get in with the hook.
puntería, va a buscar puntería.
In the 9th round by CompuBox count, Shane Mosley landed 13 power shots in the last 2 minutes of the round when both Emmanuel Stewart and Max Kellerman felt that Cotto was in some way hurt. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 9?
Look at him, 86, 85, 5 rounds to 4, Miguel Cotto, but the momentum is with Shane Mosley.
Miguel is going to have a lot of problems holding Shane up because Shane has got all of his confidence. I mean, in addition to the speed, the hand speed.
Cotto staggering.
But it's Miguel Cotto going to the ropes willingly. It looked, it started early in the last
And now
round.
Benji Estevez stops the action to get them to dry off moisture in Miguel Cotto's corner.
It doesn't matter. It wasn't really hurt. It's just the way Shane is just taking control completely anyway, regardless. So Shane is going to get him right back in trouble again in a matter of time.
And fans may recall that Miguel Cotto had a cut in his mouth against Sam Judah that gushed blood for 10 rounds of that fight. Between rounds, our interpreter in Cotto's corner, Jerry Alaya, told us they were looking for a cut inside Cotto's mouth, and he was complaining that he had blood inside his mouth and his throat. That may be what was bothering him so badly in the last round. Crowd is trying to urge Shane Mosley to jump him, assault him, mug him right now.
I don't think it's a cut in the mouth. I don't know what happened, but something happened somewhere along the way. It's almost like fatigue had set in.
Yeah.
Just because he's never had nobody challenging him like this. You know, it's a rough fight. Even though he's had some tough fights, no one has ever challenged him like this.
Hard right hand by Mosley.
He has no answer for the right hand neither.
If either man's will is being tested here, it's Miguel Cotto's.
What a reversal.
It's going to be rough to see him make it through all the way to 12 rounds the way this fight is going now. Unless he
Now
can
Cotto
turn
turns Mosley around against the ropes and tries to reverse the war of wills.
Watch your heads, guys. Watch your heads.
Miguel Cotto's vulnerability is part of what makes him so exciting.
Yeah, that's the punch up through the center, which and if Moses starts shooting shots up between the center, he's going to really be effective, much like Margarita did in the fight earlier.
Yes, that vulnerability against Shane Mosley might be disastrous.
Comeback. Cotto backs Mosley up with a left and a right and another right.
Oh, keep him up, Shane. Oh. That's it. Right, right. Your punches up. That's it. That's it.
Big left hand by Cotto. Out of the southpaw stance. Back to the conventional stance. Round 10 coming to a close. Cotto has energy. Back to fighting the way he fought earlier. What a vicious struggle. Woo!
Good, breathe deeply.
Yeah.
Breathe, breathe, breathe. How are you feeling? Good? I'm good. Two more, two more. Come on, he's desperate. He's desperate because he knows he's back. Come on, but be careful. We can't confide in the judges.
Here you see what is typical of this fight. Here in the first half of the round, which was Moses showing a tremendous right uppercut right through the center, up between the gloves. And near the last part of it, here comes Cotto storming back with a tremendous straight left that probably won him the round, either made it a draw.
CompuBox numbers in the 10th. Mosley 26 out of 75. Cotto 19 out of 57. Mosley landing 23 power shots. First half of the round seemed clearly to belong to Mosley. Second half of the round seemed to belong to Miguel Cotto. What a battle we've got as they go to the 11th and the 12th. They're dead even on Harold Letterman's scorecard.
Those slow motion replays showed the force, the way their faces were contorted and pushed into their necks almost. They're throwing bombs.
And we're told by Jerry Alaya, our interpreter in the Cotto corner, that there's no question now, it's a cut, inside Cotto's mouth on the lower lip, the same place where he carried a cut for 10 rounds against Zab Judah. Seemingly, the same cut may have opened again.
But you know, all that Shane has to do is throw something up through the center.
Hard right hand by Cotto. Well, you've been asking for Mosley to throw uppercuts all night, and I don't think he's landed more than one or two. But they're there for
and he
him.
landed them. I think he's very comfortable landing that right hand.
Focused on that buggy whip right hand, which he has landed with overwhelming consistency. Body shots by Mosley, 2 in a row. Trying to dig a grave for Cotto. Cotto gets away. Usually in rounds 11 and 12, if you get there, it's the other fighter who has his back to the ropes and Cotto who's applying the pressure. Here, the circumstances are reversed, but what a left hook. Cotto just landed.
Cotto's landing the punches, even though he's been backed up. Aggressive guy is still Shane, but still Cotto's landing the clean, effective blows for the most part.
Cotto showing some versatility we've yet to see from him in his professional career.
And both fighters showing unbelievable courage and resiliency in this fight.
Cotto's counter-punching and landing these vicious shots, as Emmanuel points out, going backward, and as you point out, Jim, with his back on the ropes.
That's what Shane needs to throw more of.
A gut-busting left hook by Mosley. A vicious shot to the middle of the belly by Cotto.
If that hook to the body doesn't hurt Mosley, then how do you hurt Mosley?
He's got a thick coat, as he says. He's very hard to hurt. Tremendous body, tremendous armor. Thus, his ability to pressure the ultimate pressure fighter throughout the second half of this fight.
And he's doing a great job of it, too.
And a huge left hand by Cotto.
That should have won the round for Cotto.
Another left hand by Cotto. And he has clearly won the 11th.
Breathe deeply now. Breathe deeply. Breathe, breathe, breathe.
Agua. Tómala, tómala un poquito de agua. Tómala, tómala. Tómala.
When you get him close to the ropes, dig to the body and then come on top with the hook. No, but hit him anyway. You hit him good with the body. But he squats down. You got to squat down with him. How your legs feel? They feel okay?
Be careful now. Now bend and move to the right. He's coming in desperate. He's coming in desperate.
Hit him to the body. Start off with the jabs and then dive off and hit him with the hooks. Surprise him with the hooks. Okay? Surprise him.
We go to the 12th round of what has predictably been a sensational fight. Both men have had moments of glory throughout the fight, round by round. Which one has something left? Psychologically, it has to bode well for Shane Mosley that we've come down the stretch of the fight with him constantly pressuring the ultimate pressure fighter in the sport, Miguel Cotto. The roles have reversed.
And doing a very good job. Only Cotto lands the clean, effective blows.
Yeah,
even though the chain is moving in, he's not landing the clean blows.
Shane's doing a nice Cotto impersonation, and Cotto is doing a nice Sugar Shane Mosley.
And if there's one thing I've noticed about judges, Emmanuel, it is that they can't always tell who's landing the clean, effective blows. They're more likely to respond to who's throwing the punches. Mosley goes down, it was a trip or a slip, and Benji Esteves makes that clear. And if they're tired, they have a right.
Whatever happens the rest of this round, Mosley's will remains unbroken.
Yeah, Mosley moves around with his jig and creates excitement without really doing a lot, but it looks good.
Hey, this round may decide the fight, and so far, neither man has done something definitive in terms of taking command of it. Now Cotto tries to with a right hand. Mosley lands a jab, and Shane is back up and bouncing. And they're at the center of the ring, the way they began the fight.
Cotto is moving as if he feels that he's got the fight won. For whatever reason, when he knows what's on the scorecard, he's moving as if he thinks he's got this fight won.
There's blood coming from a cut above Miguel Cotto's right eye. There's a faint trickle of blood out of his mouth. Mosley's chasing and pressuring. Cotto is retaliating with counter shots whenever he feels the need, but otherwise keeping distance. It's been a high contact battle. Glory in the garden for both fighters. No loser tonight.
Very much like everybody expected. That's why I couldn't make a decision. And I still, after the fight is over with 12 rounds, it's still close. Possibly a slight edge maybe to Cotto for landing the more clean, effective blows.
But it's Mosley with at least the moral victory in that in the later stages of the fight, it was Cotto moving away from Shane.
Harold Letterman scores the fight for Miguel Cotto, giving the Puerto Rican star both of the last 2 rounds. But Harold Letterman is far more experienced than any of the 3 judges who will officially score the fight. Glenn Feldman, 25 title fights. It's a good dossier. It's not to be compared with the number of judges in the sport who have more than 100 title fights, and there are many of them. He scored Miguel Cotto over Paulie Malignaggi in the Madison in Atlantic City by 5 points. Win Kintz, 2 title fights. Why is a man with only 2 title fights in his background scoring this fight? He had Larry Donald beating Evander Holyfield. A blind man could have made that choice. And Peter Trematera, 31 title fights. Just like the first judge we mentioned, Glenn Feldman, he had Cotto beating Malignaggi 116-111. A decision hangs in the balance between 2 fighters who gave their all, but they brought glory to boxing, as so many others have this year. And in my personal view, Emmanuel, no loser tonight.
No, Shane Mosley, whether he wins or loses, if he does win it, he's a new champion, which is amazing. He's come back and beat a young fighter who's at his prime in Cotto right today. And even if he loses the fight, he still came so close to winning and so much credibility. Great performance.
Think of the great role reversals in boxing history, like Tommy Hearns outboxing Ray Leonard for several rounds before Leonard went inside and dug out a vicious, violent victory in September of 1981. Put up there with it the picture of Shane Mosley pressuring, chasing, trying to nail down Miguel Cotto in the late rounds as Cotto tried to tactically preserve what he thought was his lead. Let's see if it was, as Michael Buffer stands by with the official numbers.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the greatest sports arena in the world, Madison Square Garden, 2 of the very best in the world stepped into the ring tonight, and we go to the scorecards. Glenn Feldman and Peter Trematera both have it 115-113. Win Kintz 116-113 to the winner by unanimous decision, Damas y caballeros de Caguas, Puerto Rico, still undefeated and still WBA welterweight champion of the world, Miguel Cotto.
Take a look at that. Just take a look at that. Final CompuBox numbers, they land an equal number of punches in the fight. Cotto landing at the higher percentage. Mosley trying so hard down the stretch, throwing 99 punches more. And Miguel Cotto remains unbeaten, but Shane Mosley is unvanquished. Jabs in the fight, Cotto landing 27 more, throwing considerably less, and his higher jab connect percentage was clearly a factor in the scoring, particularly in the early to middle rounds. Shane Mosley landing 27 more power shots. Call that 27 hard right hands over the top. He was so dominant with that punch through much of the fight and landing more than half his power shots. Normally, if you land more than half your power shots, you're likely to win the fight. And Mosley was not a loser, but Miguel Cotto got the nod from the judges. Let's go to Max Kellerman with the Puerto Rican star.
Congratulations, Miguel, on a tremendous fight. The last few seconds of the 12th round, you were behaving as though you thought you had the fight won. Did you think you had the fight won?
Yeah, after the cut, I just pretend to move because I have the fight here in my corner.
Early in the 9th round, you suddenly began moving away from Shane. Why?
Well, because I feel I have the fight, and I try to win the fight the easy way for me.
But it's so normal for us to see you, especially in the later rounds, pressuring your opponent, going after your opponent. It was strange to see you move away. Were you hurt in any way?
No, I didn't hurt. I'm a little bit, you know, a little bit excited about the moment, and I just pretend to move.
Assess your performance and Shane's performance.
Well, we both give our best, try to bring the best for all the fans here, all the fans on their house, and I think we commit our effort.
Was Shane's strength apparent to you at a certain point where you thought, I can't knock this guy out? Did you stop trying for a knockout at a certain point in the fight?
Well, I always throw my punches hard, you know, for causing any trouble, any pain on my opponent. And when I see change coming and I don't going to knock him out here, I try to move and try to win the fight easy.
Okay, you're still undefeated. You've just beaten the great Sugar Shane Mosley. Who do you want next, Miguel?
I don't know. I just let that to my company, to my team, and to all the fans. Whatever they want, I'm fighting, I'm going for him.
Well, speaking for the fans, I think we'd like to see you fight the winner of the Mayweather-Hatton fight next month. What do you think about that?
I'm available. I'm available for all the big names in the business. I'm ready for them.
Thank you on a tremendous fight, Miguel. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Max Kellerman. I think more and more the question on fight fans' minds is going to be, Emmanuel Stewart, will the winner of Ricky Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather, particularly if it's Mayweather, really fight Miguel Cotto?
Well, I think he deserves it, and especially when you look at not just the fight tonight, but I was just thinking, that this guy in this short period that he's been a professional fighter, I've saw him knocked down probably 4 times, maybe 5, cut up bad, cut in his lip last time, his eye closed, this time his eye bleeding, all kind of problem that he survived and won all of his fights. I think he deserves a super fight. And I think if Mayweather would fight him if he wins, it's fine. But if Mayweather don't want to fight him, he won't fight him. And if Max wants to keep considering him as the #1 lineal champion, whatever, Max can have it. I don't want a part of it.
Miguel Cotto, competent violence with vulnerability. Shane Mosley, guts, glory, unvanquishable, standing by with Max right now.
Well, it's not what I want, Emmanuel. It's how it is. But congratulations, Sugar Shane Mosley, on a fantastic performance. What do you think happened?
You know, I mean, Miguel is very strong, and you know, not only is he's a powerful pressure fighter, he's also an all right boxer too. He can box a little bit, so he mixes up pretty good, and you know, he did a terrific job. You know, I felt the young warrior, you know, he's a world champion. He's ready for greatness.
Do you think you won the fight? It doesn't sound like that from the way you're talking. It was very close.
I thought it was a very, very close fight, but you know, for a guy to be in the ring with me like that and being able to fight me back, you know, I had to take my hat off to him, regardless of if I felt I won or not. I thought it was a close fight, but you know, the judges seen it in Miguel's way, and you know, it was just a great fight. And I take my hat to Miguel. He's a great warrior.
Did he ever hurt you?
You know, there was times where he caught me with, I think he caught me maybe with a good left every now and then, but I wasn't never hurt where I was gonna like go down, but I felt a little buzz every now and then.
Do you think you ever hurt him? Because suddenly, early in the 9th round, he started backing up off you.
I definitely hurt him a couple times. I heard some body shots, I heard some head shots, but he's a very tough fighter, and you know, I take my hat off to the young warrior.
Shane, you're 36 years old. You just fought a very close fight with the young, vicious fighter of the division. How much longer are you going to do this? What's next?
Well, you know, I don't know. I think now probably I'm looking to put on my promoter hat more. Maybe if there's another fight, maybe I might take it. But I think now, you know, the young warrior, I mean, he got that decision. He beat me. Hey, you know, I'm not getting any younger.
Is a rematch something that you're not thinking about at the moment? Because heading into this fight, the winner of this fight, like a semifinal for the winner of Hatton Mayweather. But after what we just saw, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch.
Well, if that occurs, then I definitely will take that consideration and take that fight. But if not, you know, hey, I mean, and that's going to be a great fight. The winner of Mayweather Hatton, see what happens in there. And I mean, this welterweight division is very tough, as you can see.
Shane, thank you very much for a great fight. And if it's thank you for a great career, thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
Jim.
All right, and Emmanuel, how thrilling it is, how magnificent it is to see the class of a Shane Mosley. So many modern athletes would have stood there and told you they won the fight, they got robbed, et cetera, et cetera. Listen to what he said.
That's what I like so much about Shane Mosley, and especially this is 2 weeks of that. And last week we had 2 great gladiators, and they both came out. Calzaghe admitted that he'd been stunned and hurt, and that he had some problems, and particularly later on he admitted, which wasn't on there, that he'd been really staggered by the right uppercut he got hit with. And then you hear Kessler admit that he'd been hurt. And this is what's good about boxing, when the guys fight their heart out and don't find any excuses and say, hey, he's the best, and let's move on.
The best cliche in sports commentary is to say that a guy is just as good or even better a human being than he is an athlete. Shane Mosley totally typifies that. Joined now by Max Kellerman. Max, I'm trying to think of all the greatest fights I've ever seen without a knockdown. The first Barrera-Morales fight comes to mind. Evander Holyfield's first fight with Riddick Bowe comes to mind. No knockdown in this fight, but it could scarcely have been more violent.
Well, actually, Bowe did score that knockdown against Holyfield,
right,
yes. Yeah. But, yeah, a similar kind of fight. This was a tremendous fight. If it wasn't a great fight, then it fell just short of greatness. It's a great fight in my book. And, in fact, maybe I'm the only one, but I thought this was damn close. I wasn't sure who won at the end of the fight. I could have seen a decision either way, and I'd love to see a rematch.
Rest assured, you're not the only one. But as Shane Mosley smiled and stood there with the swelling beginning in his face, I think you were right in suggesting that he wasn't thinking of a rematch at this particular moment.
I would just add that boxing is a contest of wills, ultimately. Which fighter can impose his will on the other? And Cotto was not able to do that to Shane Mosley tonight. If anyone imposed their will, it was Shane Mosley. And I'd like to see if he could do it again, and if he couldn't, if Cotto could more decisively.
All right. Either way, whether it happens again or not, we have something magnificent to treasure in what took place here at Madison Square Garden tonight. It's been a tremendous year of great fights. There have been as many as a dozen memorable fights taking place at or near the highest level of the sport. This ranks with any of them, and we still have one more great one to go before the year is out. So thanks for being with us.